Hi there, this is Travis and this is another edition of Not on the Pole. First thing first, there will be spoilers here, so check the tags below, and if any of these books you haven't read yet and you don't want something spoiled for you, don't watch this until you've read those books, okay? Okay, all right. This is the week of October 12th, 2011. Okay, first off, I'm going to talk about Demon Knights, written by Paul Cornell and art by Diogenes Neves. I wasn't sure about the first issue of this. It seemed pretty standard. Okay, it probably is still standard in some ways as far as the whole Dungeons and Dragons romp type adventures that I used to do as a kid. But the book was fun. This issue was a riot. I'm really loving this version of Vandal Savage. He's hilarious. They get attacked by dragons, which seem to be looking like dinosaurs as a whole part. And he's like, "Oh yeah, I haven't eaten these in 100 years or a century or whatever." And so of course he's going after them to tear them apart so he can get himself some good food to eat. Some of the other characters I like. I still like Shiny Knight in it. I like how she kind of looks down on most of the other people there. When she's really looking down, she speaks in Celtic or Gaelic. She gets caught insulting some of them at one point in the language because one of the monks of the town that they're now stuck in and I guess are going to end up saving, it looks like. I'm not a big fan of the demon character in this issue. I like the idea of Madame Xanadu having a relationship with him, and she has one relationship with Jason Blood and a different kind of relationship with the demon. That's all fine. But the demon seemed lackluster. I mean, he's cool. I mean, I like seeing him, flame breath things and whatnot. That part's cool. But as far as his personality and whatnot, I'm not really, I don't know. It's just kind of bland right now. The other characters are starting to come forward and start to be interesting. I wish we'd see more of the Horsewoman, I guess is what she's currently being called. She's briefly showed up in the last issue. This issue, we at least get to see what she looks like. She rides in, basically says, "Get the hell out of town," and rides away. And then rides into some other dragons at a point later on. Those dragons are really interesting because those dragons are really, really, really big, and they look mechanical. And it looks like, if you really look at the picture closely, it looks like there's little people inside different parts of the neck running these giant mechanical beasties. That's pretty cool. Some other magic gets tossed around. There's some other funny lines in there. The kind of Amazon X, I guess she wants to be called. She gets called a tart at one point. She's not sure what that is. She goes, "Gee, thanks. Is that a pastry?" There's some funny stuff in there. I love the fact that when this hail of arrows comes flying down, they're blocking on the Shiny Knights, swiping them with her sword and cutting arrows in half. Vandal Savage has a huge a leg of meat, and he uses that to block some of the arrows, and then he continues to eat the leg of meat. This is just fun. It's going to go on my pull list. When I do my orders for this month, it'll end up going on the pull list. It's just entertaining. It has lots of fun things going on in it. So far at least, we'll pick it up to the first arc, see what goes on. See how these characters grow. See if there's going to be something else besides defending this city. I mean, what happens after that? I'm curious. I'm going to go along for the ride for this part because it's been fun, and we'll see what happens. What kind of story there might be after that. Okay. Next up is Mr. Terrific, written by Eric Wallace, with art by Guliana. I'm not sure. I read this comic a couple days ago, and I'm still not 100% sure what I think of it. It's interesting. There's interesting bits and pieces in it. I want to like it because I think the character is a cool character, and I don't see any reason why he shouldn't be able to pull off his own book. I don't know that this issue was all that exciting. My son read it, and he said that it was a struggle for him to finish reading it just because it wasn't that exciting. Now, I don't need my comics to be riveting. It doesn't have to be all action-packed and whatnot. But it wasn't, a lot of it wasn't very fast-paced. It's interesting. I don't even mind the rubber science and all the scientific babble that gets thrown out there. The guy's the third smartest man in the world. He should be talking like this, I think, to some degree. I mean, somebody asked him, how's this work? I mean, is he going to, talk down to him and say, oh, I'm just hooking the diggamajigger to the whatchamacallit? No, he's going to give real, he's going to give what? Real scientific terms, to the stuff. He's going to say, this is what I'm doing. So, that was kind of interesting. I think it's kind of interesting whether I understand it or not, or whether it's actually even remotely close to being factual, them using science to make this stuff work and him saying what he's doing and whatnot. I didn't mind that. I like the character himself. He actually seems to be a pretty decent guy as a whole. He seems pretty supportive. Supportive of other people. He's saying good job to Karen. His Karen Starr is trying to help him out and whatnot. I think there's now becoming an interesting tension between Karen Starr and I'm drawing a blank on the other character's name right now. Mr. Terrific's assistant. Tension between them as to who has the relationship and what does the relationship really mean. That's interesting. The ninth dimension thing, that's becoming cooler. There's a cool double spread shot of him on his T-spheres flying along out there. I think that's an awesome looking shot as far as that goes. And there's something going to happen in the ninth dimension. There's some entity out there that's trying to catch up to him for help or something. That looks like that could be pretty cool. We get the villain Brainstorm at the end of it. We see him. I like the way he looks. He's interesting looking. Of course, to some degree, he seems like another megalomaniac wanting to take over the world. He wants to be, the new god. So we'll see how that all turns out. I'm going to get the next issue. We'll see how I feel about it then. He's got a confrontation coming up here at the end of it. He's got basically zombie people coming to get him. So we'll see. The art still kind of bothers me. It still looks mishmashed in places. Not quite so much this time as it did last time. The cover art always looks cool. I don't like the way they color his masks, though. I've decided his mask must be red because he's got other red trim in places and whatnot. But I still think the way they color that mask red and they color it darker in other places, it makes the bottom of his face look potentially like a bloody mess, and that continues to bother me. And I guess it's going to continue to bother me until they fix it, or I don't know, I get used to it, or I just keep complaining about it forever and ever. Anyway, Mr. Terrific, I'm not putting it on my poll yet, but I'm going to pick up the next issue at least to see. I'm figuring how this is going to end out, and see what I'm going to go from there. Okay. All right, next up is Resurrection Man, written by Dan Bennett and Annie Lanning with art by Fernando Daginio. And I love this comic. I like the last issue. This issue just makes me even more excited. It has kind of a Vertigo feel to it. I'm a big Vertigo fan. It's definitely not a superhero book. It's got superpowered people in it. We don't know what's going on. Resurrection Man doesn't know a whole lot about himself, we've discovered. He's been drawn to this nursing home where his dad supposedly stayed at. But of course, there's no information for there for him to really find anything. He finds another guy there at the nursing home who is friends with his dad, and starts filling him in on some of the information as to what he used to be and whatnot. Meanwhile, I got these two crazy chicks chasing him around. And I'm calling them chicks because kind of the way they act and dress and whatnot. At one point it shows a shot of them laying all over these guns and whatnot. Does that make them strong female characters? Yeah, I don't know. Make some fun characters that they have this kind of wild and craziness to them and whatnot. They're obviously working for some sort of an agency that's trying to track him down. They've had prior experience with him. They seem perturbed that he doesn't remember who they are. Whatever organization they have actually has the ability to basically kind of teleport them around. That's pretty cool. They're violent as all heck as they try shooting the daylights out of him and whatnot. Of course, currently his powers are water, so he just turns to water. Kind of hard to fight somebody with bullets when they can turn to water. Anyway, the angels are still around and the thing. I'm calling them angels because they got wings and whatnot. They're an organization that seems to be chasing the guy down also. Towards the end of the comic, it looks like he gets killed again, and it looks like when he dies, he kind of pops into another reality. Well, when he dies, he kind of wakes up, and he's got a chalk line around him, like, he had a crime scene. But he wakes up in this, at the very last page, he wakes up in this, well, I'm assuming it's another reality, with hundreds of chalk lines, bodies all over the place. Like, this is the place that he goes to briefly while he's dead before he pops back. And I just like the whole idea. He keeps coming back. He's got some urge that draws him a certain place. So it seems to be either it's drawing him to help people or it's drawing him towards places that he's going to find out more about himself. So we're going to get to learn about this character as he learns about his character. It's just a great setup. The art is grand. It's got a really good feel to it. I'm really excited about it. This comic is definitely going out on my pull. Excuse me. I'm really tickled with how it's turned out. When this was a comic that when I first heard about it, I went, yeah, I'm not getting that. I don't have any interest in it and whatnot. So, anyway, going on my pull list. Next up, we have Suicide Squad #2, written by Adam Glass and art by Dalla Ocho, I guess. Like I said before, like I've said in another cast, I'm butchering these poor people's names. I'm really sorry. If any of you could tell me how to say it, awesome. I don't know. This issue, the art seemed different. I haven't figured out what's with that. I need to go back and look and see if somebody changed. Did inker change? Did the colorist change? I liked the art in the first issue. Don't necessarily like how people were dressed. I continue to not like how people were dressed in this one necessarily, but I did like the art. This one, I don't like it quite so much. And I'm not totally sold on this book yet. The situation's somewhat interesting. I dropped down into this stadium. There's some virus going around. It looks like it's some computer-oriented virus. They have to find a package. Waller tells them that they have to find a package. And it seems to be that Deadshot's the person in charge here. So they wander about. El Diablo has somehow seen the light and wants to be a good guy. So he isn't willing to really kill anybody. And these people are zombies, and there's really nothing they can do for them. They can just be put down, it seems like. He doesn't seem to want to do that. There's some conflict there. Harley Quinn is fun. I don't know if there's a whole lot of character to her. I mean, she's bonkers. She throws out lots of great lines about how the fact that this is like playing a zombie game. That's fun and amusing. She's amusing as a very bit character, but there's not a whole lot there to invest in her. I mean, at least we're getting some personality of Deadshot to maybe invest in him. Suddenly there's a new character in the group that I didn't see get dropped down from the airplane last time. Didn't seem to be in the whole torturing thing and whatnot. That guy with electric-based powers, I'm even drawing a blank on his name now, and the reason that is because he ends up being killed at the end of it. He basically does all the worry work because, of course, he's got electricity. It short-circuits all of the robotic zombies, basically. And at the end of it, they need an scapegoat to explain why all the people were killed in this place and whatnot. So they're basically going to use the whole villain gone bad thing. And so Deadshot, shoots the guy between the eyes and kills him and leaves his body behind to take the rap for butchering all of these people inside of this Coliseum. They're supposed to get transported out of the place. We find out they've got 3 hours before the micro bombs that are basically placed in the villains' necks will go boom. And Waller tells them, "Oops, it's too hot there. We can't, we can't come and pick you up. You're gonna have to find your own way out of the Coliseum and go into hiding until we can find a safe place to pick you up." It's relatively straightforward. Only real surprises is the package happens to be the baby that's inside of the zombie pregnant woman. And of course the reason they want the baby is because the baby's supposedly immune to the virus, and they'll need that in case this virus spreads to hopefully build up some sort of antidote, I would assume. But anyway, so you got Deadshot running around with the baby in his arms, trying to get out of the place, is what the comics left with that. Like I said, there are amusing parts to this. I like the idea of it. I'm not totally sold on this. Something weird about the art this time around. I don't know, it didn't look as interesting or something about it. I don't know. So I'm not 100% sold, like I said, on the comic. And I could continue to go off on Waller. Yeah, definitely, that's that supermodel looking woman in issue 1. is Waller, because she's in issue 2, sitting there behind the council, barking out orders and telling them how it's going to be and whatnot. Come on, DC, explain why the hell she looks the way she looks now. I mean, I know it's a new universe and you can make her look like whatever, but what was the point? What was the point? You're showing a cartoon currently right now on TV and you had Waller in it and she was the heavier set, kick-ass Waller. Why do you have her being the way she is now? Come on, explain it, please. Make us all happy. Give us a reason why. Anyway, that's it for this week. I'll see you next week. Have a good one.